I want to give credit to Michael Shore, who's been around at TYT forever, has been doing great work over the last couple of years. Michael Shore has gone to so many Trump rallies. He also went to New Hampshire and conducted some amazing interviews. And I want to occasionally touch base with some of this. So I want to start with Michael Shore talked to this man who is not only a Christian, but also a missionary. And you're gonna feel a little bit of that flavor in the video we're gonna show you, but it goes to some perhaps unexpected and dark places.
People like, well, Bernie Sanders, Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, who's supposedly a Muslim, but all she does is vote in favor of Democratic legislature that is antithetical to biblical values. You have individuals like them that are definitely opposed and have an agenda to destroy Christian liberty, freedom, and the church. And they're doing that. And you know what? They do it through the Church of Satan, which is a public school system. The Second Amendment is in place for us to take up arms against a tyrannical government. It's a protection for that. And listen, are we going to fight the government with a tyrannical government with handguns or machine guns? Whatever this is, if the government is tyrannical and goes unconstitutional and goes against our founding documents and becomes a Marxist state, that Second Amendment is for we the people.
I hope for this individual's sake that that hopefully he will be able to get through the rest of his life without ever acting on what seems to be a brewing desire for conflict with the federal government, because I have news for him. Whether you go up against the US military with a handgun or a machine gun, you're gonna die. They're gonna kill you in either case. You're not gonna be able to take down the Marines with your machine gun, okay? Because they've got machine guns and they've got bigger stuff than machine guns. But anyway, I don't even know how we got to this point that we have to talk about potentially fighting the federal government, using it against the enemies that he identified. Ilhan Omar, I suppose, is one of the people that he thinks of when he thinks about tyrannical government and having to shoot people. Since the start of that was, all of this is grounded in Christianity. All of this is grounded in religious values. Not just what he believes, but also what he believes the other side believes. He thinks that Ilhan Omar is doing this because she's a Muslim, but also a part of the Church of Satan. I think those are different organizations. Look, all of this serves, like, this individual is not super important, but what it represents is ideologies, worldviews, ways of thinking can be great in the abstract. But once they're filtered through the human brain, which is a flawed thing, they can go in all sorts of self-destructive directions. And this is the sort of way of thinking that we need to be on the watch for, and potentially an individual that maybe some people should watch out for. What do you think, Yas?
Oh my God, I don't even know what to think. That was so many words that came out of his mouth, and none of them actually make any sense together. He said Ilhan Omar is supposedly a Muslim. She's a Muslim. Ilhan Omar is a Muslim. Like, we know this. She talks about it, right? That's documented. She's not supposedly anything. And it's unbiblical. I started taking notes about the things that he was saying. We the people, the satanic church, machine guns, tyrannical governments. It's just too much. And I feel like his brain is trying to smush all these things together because he's afraid of something, but he doesn't really seem to know what. I guess he's afraid of Satan, and he's saying, it's really weird because, I mean, on a serious note, you have people who really do have these very strongly held beliefs, but they're irrational. And this guy really just epitomizes that. He just showed everyone how irrational it all is, because if you say them out loud to any other person who's not in this weird, like, QAnon whatever bubble, it sounds like nonsense, and it probably is, And even the things that he was saying, it seems like he doesn't have a good grasp on what is constitutional. He doesn't understand that Ilhan Omar is a Muslim, and that's totally fine in this country because we have religious freedom, and it's totally fine that she is serving in Congress. He also seems confused that she is a Democrat because it's unbiblical, or I don't even remember what he said. Something about it's unchristian for her to be voting for democracy, even though she's a Muslim, something like that, he said. And it's weird because so many people are afraid of things like Muslims when they really don't have any understanding of Muslim people or the religion itself, right? And people try to pinpoint and cherry pick things that scare them about different groups of people or different religious groups and things like that, but they really don't have an understanding of people. And what we're seeing in this country a lot, and maybe some of it has to do with social media, is that people are really just being categorized and put into boxes, and these boxes are very, very small. There is no nuance, there is no understanding of individuals, there is no understanding of entire groups of people, and we don't understand each other in this country. And then I guess you get people like this guy.
Yeah. Look, he's enthusiastic. I'll give him that, and it can be hard sometimes when you're put on the spot. Cameras, put in your face. That said, he's a caucus captain and a missionary, so he's kind of taken a communications sort of job for himself. But again, none of these individual people are super important. Like, I'm not going to get down on what an individual person says. It's what they represent and the factions of parties that they represent. And we need to know that this is going on. So thank you to Michael Shore and other reporters for making sure that we are aware of it. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.